Hey guys, it's Postbox Pat. Welcome back to a brand new storyline video, and in today's video we're talking Fortnite storyline and obviously everything that's currently going on. So I've got some really interesting points and topics to talk about. There's a lot of stuff which really has been missed through every single Fortnite storyline video across YouTube, so make sure you stay in tune for that. And for some reason, if you're not already subscribed, I'm your #1 source for Fortnite map changes and daily storyline content when stuff happens, so make sure you're smashing that subscribe and notification bell. For some reason 80% of you guys aren't subscribed, so please do consider joining the crew and keeping yourself updated with Fortnite secrets. Anyway, let's dive into this and talk about the storyline. So first off, we're going to jump right back to that chapter 2 season 2 trailer, and there are a lot of things in here which we haven't really talked about since the start of the season, and more interestingly, there's something which really is starting to piece together something a little bit interesting. So obviously we have the tree guy, or the bush guy as everyone loves him. You know, he himself was actually spotted with obviously the 7 carvings on the tree, and was also spotted back in season 1 in the loading screen where 8-Ball was fighting his alter version. So I did really like that, but that itself doesn't really tell us much other than supposedly he could be talking to Midas about this or something linking into season 2. The most interesting thing about this is this character, because what is he doing? He's clearly drawing stuff from the past. He's either researching it or he's planned it. He's got some sort of kind of crazy brain which digs into different areas of the Fortnite universe and understands a lot more than other characters. So we should definitely keep an eye out for him. I definitely think he will do something with the Fortnite storyline. But that's not the main point in this trailer. Let's jump to the end cutscene where we see Tech sat at the table with the other characters. Now Tech is a character which really hasn't been mentioned at all. And what's really interesting about Tech is he is a kind of a developer. He builds things. He's kind of creative, but what's really interesting about his set is when you take a look at his back bling description, you start to see something a little bit more interesting. You can see here in this screenshot, the description of his back bling is packed with plans, and the description of his skin is armed and dangerous. He also has an ego and alter variant, so a ghost and shadow variant, which really does hint towards Midas's super plan. These people on this table right here are the ones that I believe are part of Midas's plan. Maybe not Lynx, and maybe not Meows, and maybe not Brutus now, but I do think the others are definitely part of his plan, including Journey versus Hazard. All of these are working together to create Midas's plans, and as we know from that description, it links into his plans that we've seen in his loading screen or loading bay or window, whatever you want to call it, where you go over to his page where you can see him in his like lair in his agent room. You know, we see the plans in the top right corner, and the plans zoomed in have a picture of the Doomsday device. They also have a picture of Midas's pickaxe potentially, and even how they're going to power this using the storm. So some really interesting stuff right there, which we should all be excited for. But the Doomsday device itself, what exactly is it? So if Tech's created this device, which we can assume now from this description of his back bling, we know that Midas is working with these people to create his crazy plan. And we know that next season is most likely going to be Water Fiend from the leaks that we saw, and also the stuff that we have had teased, including obviously the Meowsles kind of guy with the ring, the shark, and a few other things. We've had a lot teased for next season. It seems quite obvious. So is this device really going to destroy the map? No. Is it going to turn the map to gold? Probably not, unless it turns it to gold and something else happens. When the live event takes place, that is what is going to tell us how this version of the map is going to develop into the next one. Now, when a new Fortnite season comes out, we know that new items and new mechanics get added in, but the event does not kind of create these mechanics. So for example, next season, if the map is going to be underwater, we're going to have to breathe underwater somehow. We magically just suddenly can't breathe underwater, so there's going to have to be pockets of air under the water, or maybe some sort of diving suit you have to wear, etc. So these are going to be new mechanics which are going to get implemented in next season. But the Doomsday device, or whatever the device is going to do, isn't going to create these mechanics. It's just going to create the path for the next season to be launched in. So the Doomsday event itself regarding the storyline is going to obviously do something to the map in 2 stages. During previous events and previous storyline information, we know that these things usually happen in 2 stages. We had the unvaulting event, for example, where we had the actual unvaulting part, and then suddenly there was a twist. After we unvaulted our chosen item or weapon, we know that the map got kind of destroyed, or parts of the map got destroyed by the volcano, ready for the Neo season, leading it in nicely. So the same sort of thing will happen this season with the Doomsday device. I'll talk about what I think is going to happen in a second, but I want to say thank you to everyone supporting me in the item shop using code PostboxPat. If you guys are supporting me, go over to my Discord to get a shout out in these videos. Thank you everybody, and let me know in the comments as well so I can heart your comment. Much love and respect to everyone supporting me over there. Let's try and get 3,000 supporters. But jumping back over to the theories, like I was saying, I do think that the Doomsday device could potentially turn the map to gold for half of the event, and then the water comes in to wash away the gold. Just like the myth with Midas, the water itself cures Midas from his greed and gold, which would work perfectly. So this Doomsday device isn't just generally going to destroy the map, it's going to transform the map into gold, maybe for like a minute during the event, and then the water comes in to cancel the gold. Almost like this battle between 2 elements. I talked about this in the past, for example, like the scene in Harry Potter where the wands always zap each other and they clash and the colours battle. I think that's what we'll see during this event with the Doomsday device and the water itself. Now, how's the water going to get here? That again is another great question. I think it may be accidental though. I do also think that the water itself will just naturally rise into the map, like just generally. I just don't know how I could say that's going to happen. There's nothing that's telling me that that could happen unless the Doomsday device goes wrong. And for example, we see it go correctly at the start and then suddenly things start to go a little bit wrong. And then Midas himself activates the Doomsday device, it all messes up, and then the map ends up clashing with water and gold, and that's how we develop next season, and it leads nicely in. Now, considering the event is going to most likely be a few days before the actual release of Season 3, with the event potentially being 2 weeks today as I'm uploading this video, and then obviously the season releasing on the Thursday the 4th of June, that only leaves us between 5 to 6 days roughly of how long we have to play the game with this development of gold. So another thing they could do is turn the map into gold. It stays gold throughout the entire event, so the whole map is magically turned to gold, and then the cinematic for the release of Season 3 removes the gold by a huge wave coming in to flood it, which would work nicely as well. Usually the cinematic can also spark a season. We've seen it spark the Neo Tilted stuff. For example, we saw the destruction of Retail, we saw the destruction of Tilted, and everyone thought it was the end. And suddenly the trailer for Neo, the Neo world, arrived and everything changed. That cinematic trailer completely cancelled out the event, and that's usually what the events do. They cancel out kind of the trailer usually cancels out the event. That's what's happened in the past a lot. We've seen that also with a few other things as well. For example, the Season 6 cube that rose from the lake. We all saw the lake go kind of purple where Kevin dived into it, but then in the trailer the cube rose and rise from that lake, which did give us that indication of that happening. So there's some more evidence that the Doomsday device is going to cause destruction on the map, either by turning it to gold or just doing damage generally, and then the cinematic will lead in nicely for Season 3. That's what happens every season. I do think it's going to be a big cinematic that will lead from the event to this. So you'll have the event, something, either it'll be a 2-stage event or a 1-stage event. If it's a 1-stage, the cinematic will lead it in. It depends on their programming power and what they've planned for this event. Is it going to be bigger than the Travis Scott event? That's what I want to know, and I'm very excited to see how it's going to go down. I will be streaming it on the channel for those wondering. Okay, so we've seen all that information which I've just put out, but this next piece also is very important. So the challenges for Midas himself are going to be coming out next week, the final overtime challenges for him, and one of the challenges is going to be to remove his gold bars from his layer. Now the gold bars themselves, when you touch them, magically have this weird dissolving texture. Thanks to Fortnite for getting an early preview at this, you can see how the gold actually dissolves, and it kind of really hints to me that definitely that Doomsday device is going to have something to do with gold. I do definitely think it because of this challenge, and obviously other stuff that we see in his room just generally. We see all of the golden skins that he's been working with throughout the entire season all transformed into gold right here. Doesn't it make perfect sense that Midas himself potentially could be something to do with gold after all of this? All these crazy theories that we've been coming up with the water and the map flooding. I just generally think it's going to be simply gold, and it's going to go wrong, the event. I think that's what's going to happen anyway, in my opinion, regarding the Doomsday event. Obviously, all the other stuff links in nicely. obviously keep your eyes peeled for Tech and the Bush Warriors, I like to call them. Keep your eyes peeled for them too, because obviously they're going to be big implements, or just generally things that we're going to see throughout the next chapter, the rest of the chapter 2 storyline. We know that the tree guy is definitely the Bush Warriors, I call him. He's searching hard and wide for obviously the data from the previous chapter 1, and he wants to know everything that's going on. So it's definitely cool to consider that, and I do think we will start to see him more and more throughout season 3. When the water theme does come in, if it does happen, the water theme, it's almost confirmed obviously, so we know that this is going to be something different, and this is where the story is really going to switch itself up, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about that season as well. So I'm very excited to see how that's going to happen as well. As soon as that season launches, I'll be streaming that. I'll also be streaming the next update for you guys, and I'll be keeping you guys up to date with storyline, map changing, Easter eggs. That's what we're going to be searching for straight away, getting an understanding and how the development from season 2 and season 3 has taken place, just like we did from every single season since season 4. We talk about always the development and all the storyline stuff, keeping you guys up to date with it, making sure you are ready for everything. So I'm ready for that. Hope you guys are too. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe on this video right now. Go and support me further in the item shop if you'd like to. It really does go a long way, especially during these difficult times. And if you haven't already, just press that like button. It takes a second. Anyway guys, I'll see you in the other videos on screen right now. Expect more content coming very soon. Thank you for watching, and this is Postbox Pat signing out.